After he got a couple of blocks from the unfortunate baker, the knackered old writer stopped momentarily and looked at his watch. This didn't make any sense. He didn't have anywhere to go and no one was expecting him anywhere as far as he knew, so it must have just been a reflex. Like I said, his watch was a cheap Taiwan digital LCD job. He'd found it in a park and it still ran okay, but some of the segments had gone wonky, and sometimes it was easy to read and sometimes impossible to read, depending on the time. 7-segment representations of numerals appeared in US patents in the early 20th century as a technique for transmitting numbers telegraphically, but they didn't become popular until the advent of LED technology in the 1970s. Each of the 10 numerals of the decimal system can be abstracted into a pattern of 7 lines. The potential gives us 128 possible states, 11 of which are used for decimal notation. The shape of any of these numerals is dependent on the binary configuration as respect to input voltages. The segments are traditionally signified HG clockwise with the top bar being N and the cross bar being G. The underlying shape of the segments is therefore the same as a figure 8, but is better understood poetically as an infinity symbol rotated through one dimension. Although the current representation is not uncontroversial to us now, in the 1970s the abstractions, especially for numbers 4 and 7, appeared so contrived as to be mnemonic rather than representation. The symbols looked like gibberish at first, but people soon got used to them, although it was particularly harsh on the newer people who could otherwise have benefited the most from the new electronic calculators. Of course, anyone unfamiliar with Arabic numerals would have trouble understanding what was going on at all. The number of segments illuminated for a digit was completely unrelated to the quantity being described. If one were trying to intuitively reconstruct the sequence, it may not even be obvious that we're dealing with a numeric base of 10, since space, the blank spell with no segments lit, is not equivalent to 0 in this system of representation. And an interesting anomaly arises here. The first 3 non-zero digits, 1, 2 and 3, are smaller quantities than the number of segments needed to represent them. The next 3, 4, 5, 6, represent the number of segments needed to represent them, and the last 3, 7, 8, 9, exceed the number of segments needed to represent them. This conforms to the law of inverse relations. In the analysis of an unknown form, the search for symmetry is a useful starting point. We find that 2 and 5 possess reflectional symmetry, while 6 and 9 possess rotational symmetry. 0 and 8 possess both, while 3, 4 and 7 are completely asymmetrical. It seems likely that these later figures would be classified provisionally as a different class of symbols, distinct from the symmetric examples. One is deeply problematic in the space for its discussion. It might be amusing to imagine segments as a species of cellular automata along the lines of John Conway's Game of Life and try to determine the rules that govern the evolution of the digits in sequence from the first principles. But let's do something else.